You are watching Spatry's Inbox Episode 2, being simulcast on G+ Tube and Dailymotion. In today's show, I'm going to cover some channel announcements. Additionally, I am going to answer your questions that you have given me in my old inbox, and all of that begins right now on Spatry's Cup of Linux. All right, let's rock. Okay, first, you guys might notice I've made a few changes on my channel. Okay, after spending a few days relearning how to use YouTube, I figured out how to do the moderation, but now it doesn't require me to physically read every message. So, kids, if you want to get my attention on any suggestions or any questions, this is where you go. For those of you watching me on YouTube, click the coffee cup that you see on the screen, and it'll take you to this channel here. All right? And then go to the suggestions and questions playlist here. Click on Spatry suggestion box to give any suggestions for any Linux and only Linux related tutorials or distribution reviews or anything else Linux related that you want to see on the show. Okay, and then Spatry's Q&A box is where you can place any of your Linux related questions. So now I've figured out a way to filter out the pornography ads and that sort of thing. So now if you type in a comment that has a universal resource locator, URL, or HTTP www. whatever, and you notice that it does not appear on the channel, it may take a few days before I even find the message to approve it. In addition, I also scanned some of the ASCII art and some of the characters that are used in the ASCII art for displaying inappropriate images that you see on YouTube, and some of you have already seen them. Phalluses, middle fingers, and other inappropriate images will not be seen here. Sorry, it ain't happening. I mentioned that I'm on Dailymotion now, and the link will be in the show notes to this. For those of you who are watching me on Dailymotion right now, there is a link to my show on YouTube. So, and I'm going to be offering exclusive content on both channels, so you might as well sign up on the Dailymotion page. Currently, I have 98 followers, and get this, kids, you don't have to sign up for anything to follow me on Dailymotion. All you need to do is put in an email address, use your spam email address, it doesn't matter. So that whenever I upload a video, you'll get a message notifying you that I've got new content online. How cool is that? So for those of you who want to be able to watch a quality show without having to sign up for any social networking sites, this may be a good option for you, and it looks pretty promising out of all of the offerings that are out there now, although I did take my time to do the research. On the Dailymotion site, I wanted to touch base on this. You don't see much of anything here just yet, but I will be adding a comment and a feedback section in here, so that will be coming up soon. I'm really not planning on adding much content to this, at least until I have my account validated so that I can have the partnership and that sort of thing. And so it takes a few business days for them to do that. And with today being an American holiday, you know, I don't expect to hear anything until next week. This is something I had been planning all along to do on my show. I want to expand my audience beyond what YouTube has to offer. Once I build up my Dailymotion page, then I'll probably move on to Blip TV, VO, and some of the other providers out there so that I can get my content out to a larger audience. There's something else I've been really itching to do, but I really need you guys' feedback on this. I was thinking about doing not just simple little tutorials, but a full comprehensive series. What I'm building up to here is the possibility. I'm not saying I'm going to do this. This is just an idea, and I need to know what you guys think about this. Would you find it acceptable if Spatry's Cup of Linux were to offer premium content? And what I mean by premium content is content that you would rent to stream, or content that would be available to you through a monthly subscription. Now, keep in mind, I'm not money hungry or anything like that, so I'm not out to rip people off, you know. I'm looking to offer something that is very reasonable, very affordable, to help me to get a return for my investment of time that it would take me to put together these longer tutorial series. So please let me know what you think of it. If you're for it, please tell me why you think it is a positive thing. And if you're against it, please say that you're against that, and please tell me why. This will help me to make that decision. Okay, so our first question comes from Commodore 256. Go, Spatry, I have the ultimate Linux question for you. That can you make Linux just as easy as Windows, because Windows doesn't have shared libraries? Hello? Look in your System32 folder. You'll find a bunch of DLL files. Guess what? They're shared libraries. I want to know where I can find a distro without shared libraries. That's called DOS. I could be wrong there. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to pick on you here or anything like that, but I always find these questions intriguing here. The biggest issue in Linux is accessibility on older Ubuntu distros. Say if you apt-get remove GIMP, it would remove GTK and everything else that uses GTK, including GNOME. Now that issue is gone. Okay, I can understand that. All right, yeah. But there are similar issues caused by shared libraries. Okay, Commodore, let me explain something to you. The only time I've really experienced any issues with shared libraries being missing mostly occurred to me personally on a 64-bit operating system, and I'm trying to run 32-bit applications. So it's important to make sure that you have the 32-bit libraries for those applications installed. And the simple way to do that is to try to launch that piece of software that you want to run directly from the terminal. And it'll say error, lib something so. Okay, then just doing a Google search. Google, what is the name of that shared file that it's calling for, and how to install it. That has solved the problem for me 100% of the time. Usually it was always shared libraries that were missing that I was trying to run on a 64-bit system. So I hope that answers your question, but yeah, as far as I know though, every modern operating system in use today uses shared libraries in one form or another. So if you really are that vehement against shared libraries, I'm afraid you're going to have to use something really old. The next question, Patrick Sheets. Good to see you, Patrick. Patrick does a lot of interacting on my show through G+ and that sort of thing. It's always good to get your feedback. Patrick states, I'm really learning a lot. Much appreciated. In trying all these distros, I run into one common problem, keeping my stuff. That may be something simple, but could I request a video explaining how to transfer an entire system from one distro to the next? I've heard you can just copy the home folder after doing a few things with the desired distro, but I think it would be a great video if you could put it out there. And I wouldn't be able to use any other nicks, and I would appreciate it. Okay, don't have my reading glasses on, so it's kind of hard to see this stuff. All right, well, let me explain this to you a little bit further, because it's kind of difficult for me to demonstrate this in a virtual environment. Okay, but let's say you were to do this. Let's say you were to, let's say your home directory was less than 16 gigs in file size. It's probably more, especially if you got video files and all this other stuff. But what I do is I copy my home directory over to an external hard drive. Let's say I have Manjaro Linux installed on computer A, and then I have Linux Lite installed on computer B. Okay, and I'm transferring settings from computer B, Linux Lite, over to computer A running Manjaro Linux. Okay, both of them have identical software sets. Okay, so I've got KDN Live on both. I've got all of my favorite applications. I've got Chromium web browser installed on both. Essentially what's happening is, if you archive your home directory and save that for later use, when you install that new operating system, okay, and you copy your home directory over, essentially all you're doing is just moving your preferences and your settings from one machine to the other. So you set up Chromium web browser on machine B that's running Linux Lite, It has all of your bookmarks, it has all your plugins, it has everything you need from the get-go, and you just installed Manjaro Linux on box A. You transfer your home directory over to the Manjaro machine, okay, and you have Chrome installed, or Chromium, or whatever it is. All right, when you open that, you're going to notice the web browser is exactly the same as the Linux Lite machine. So see, your home directory is only keeping all of your settings for the software that you use the most. So, and that is the first thing I do actually when I transfer an operating system over. So for instance, all of my settings that I'm using right now, a lot of them are from my Pinguy OS days. Okay, when I first started this show, I kept backing up my home directory, okay, so that I could transfer these settings from Linux distribution to Linux distribution. I didn't even have to watch a video on it. I just saw a forum post that stated, okay, well, this is how you do it. Just move your home directory. So, you know, I would just install the new Linux system, copy the home directory over, and boom, all of my settings are there just the way I like them for all the applications that I use. Maybe one day I'll try and put a video up on this, but I mean, this is so easy to do. Really, doing a video on it probably just wouldn't do it justice. The next question comes from Illuge26, and he asks a few questions on my show from time to time as well. Good to hear from you. He says, hey Spatry, what are the best screen recorders for Linux? I've tried many, but they always seem to fail every time I record. Gotta love it when that happens. There are two really good ones I can tell you about right now. Okay, and one of them is called Kazam. That has a graphical user interface that is Kazam. They just updated it, as a matter of fact. Depending on what Linux distribution that you're running, you can get a PPA for it, or if you're running an Arch-based distro, you can search for it through Yowert. Another one is called Vokoskrin. Nice German name, Vokoskrin. Love it, love it. And that's a neat little program too. Now, each of them have their own little caveats. You know, some of the problems that you may be encountering is maybe you're trying to record video at too fast of a frame rate. Even on my quad-core system, using FFmpeg from the terminal, I still only capture at 15 frames per second. All right, sometimes less frames is more and more frames is less. So that is a piece of advice you can use. Alternatively, if you don't want to have to struggle through the hassle of using FFmpeg from the terminal, here is a Google search you can perform. FFmpeg Python script. Do a search for that. You'll find a Python script that you can download. You can run that from a terminal. And then in running that, it'll detect what you have set up. There's also another one for avconv. So you would do a search for avconv Python script. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes for you so that you know what to search for. That, or I'll just search for it and throw a link somewhere in the comments. It's kind of cool we can do that now. Although then I have to approve my own comment. Okay. Ram Does Linux wanted to know, hey Spat, how did you make that really cool 3D animated title for all of your videos? Well, Graham, let me tell you what. That would take me days to put a tutorial like that together if I were to go through step by step of making all the individual models, and then putting bones on those individual models, and then animating those individual models and that sort of thing. It is a lot of work. It is tedious work. But the thing is, the payout is great at the end. But let me go ahead and open up one of my titles so I can at least give you an idea of what it is you're getting here. So here's one right here. Okay, and I need to go ahead and go into the default on this. Okay, and now we're looking at my 3D world from the camera view. And if I go all the way to the beginning here, and we scrub forward, you're going to see all these little lines. And these are all keyframes associated to this rig that I have on my Spanky the Tux model here, right? And at each point in time between these frames, the program is interpolating between the positions between frames. It's a lot of work that goes into this, okay? And then my butterfly model here also has individual animation frames where I have some, well, it's called a shape key, and I can adjust these shape keys to make it look like the butterfly's wings are opening and closing, okay? And so basically in here, I have different things that this butterfly is doing as it's progressing down this path here. And then, of course, each individual object has been modeled, such as the TVs, and each TV has a video texture applied to each of them to give the illusion that there's a video playing in these, okay? A lot of painstaking work went into modeling each piece. This is the cup without the texture, and of course, you know what the rendered result looks like. My only thing about this is, for some reason, it does not remember. Every time I go to re-render this and change the title in this, I have to change the font back to the font that I like to use. For some reason, this doesn't remember it, and maybe I'll figure that out one of these days, why it is doing that. So at least this gives you a little bit of a taste of some of the things that you can do with this program. And here's the entire 3D world. If I were to zoom out, you can basically see here what this is. We can even go back in time here, and you can see here just what's going on. You'll notice here, as I'm moving across the timeline, the camera is moving with these objects in the scene to give the illusion that there's a chase going on. And of course, when we zoom in on Tux here, you know, you can see I've got the illusion that he's, you know, doing the running and that sort of thing. So all in all, pretty cool stuff. It's very involved. Definitely make use of Blender Cookie. That is a good site to go for tutorials. Matter of fact, the best site. There are a few okay tutorials as well here on G+ Tube, and there's probably some on Dailymotion, although I haven't really looked. But there's a lot of places you can go online, so I highly suggest making Google your friend, because that is how I learned how to use Blender. And I came over from Hexagon and Carrera, so I already knew how to model. It was just learning Blender's way of doing it. So if you have no experience with modeling whatsoever, you're going to be in for a steep learning curve. Yeah. The next question comes from Max MMX. Can you please put subtitles or captions in your videos? I hate to let you down, buddy, but you know what? These videos take a lot of my time to put it together right now as it is. That would be too much work for me to put subtitles into my videos, mostly for the reason that I don't script any of these videos at all. I mean, I just start talking in front of the camera and that sort of thing, and that means after I'm done editing this thing, now I have to play back the video once, maybe twice, because I'm not a really fast typer, and then type in all these comments into the YouTube box for that. Unfortunately, that's something I cannot really do well. However, there is a feature that you can take advantage of when you're watching videos, okay? And usually, well, this doesn't have it, but down here on the lower right corner of the videos here, usually there is a caption button, and G+ Tube automatically will try to take your speech and turn it into text. And I realize it isn't perfect, but I think you get the idea. I've watched a few videos, and yeah, sometimes, but I could still get the gist of what was being said, even though some of the text wasn't, you know, exactly perfect. So unfortunately, that's the only option. Now, on the other hand, if I provide premium paid for content, yes, they will have subtitles. That is, but then again, I'll be putting a lot more work into those videos, and I know that I will be getting a return for my investment if I were to do that. But for my free videos, it's not happening. It's just too much work to do that. I really apologize. Okay, and then this comes from, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, dude. I think that's Daj OTB Coda. Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, here's your question. Hey, Spat. I really enjoy the Kdenlive video editor. I have a few questions for you. Did you ever use Blender video editor, also Lightworks, aka Lightworks, or Flowbade video editors? Absolutely. Tried them all. Each has its own caveats. Number one, Blender video editor, too many controls. Not very user-friendly. Not only that, every piece of video footage that you're editing must be the exact same frame rates, okay? The same thing with Lightworks, which is also not very user-friendly. Kdenlive is the most user-friendly one that I've been able to figure out. Well, OpenShot's easy too, but it doesn't give you the precise control that Kdenlive does, and I'm interested to see what OpenShot's going to be bringing out in the future. But I already know that Kdenlive is rocking, and I can't wait for the next release to come out. Flowblade is similar in some ways to Kdenlive. It uses the same frameworks. However, it just hasn't matured enough. It's too new. It doesn't really have all the features that Kdenlive has. I've had an opportunity to look at all of them and that sort of thing. And my money is still on Kdenlive. I spent several days building my own effect stacks and that sort of thing. So now, when I'm shooting footage in front of a green screen so I can appear on the screen like I do now, it's just a simple little drag and drop effect, boom, and you're done. And the thing is, you should check out that video, my Get Out of the Box video that I have up on my G Plus Tube channel. I show you some really cool things that you can do with that. But also, in my fall-winter lineup, I am planning a lot of tutorials in Kdenlive, and I'm also going to complete the Manharo Mania series, as well as throwing in more distro reviews, more news and nonsense, and of course, more Linux Zoo Crews. Yeah, we need more Zoo Crews, and who knows, we can get enough show hosts together. We'll even be bringing back the A-teams. Well, that's all I've got. As a reminder to all of you, please support the show hosts who are delivering the content that you enjoy the most. Please consider supporting all of your favorite content creators by disabling your ad blockers or tossing some coins. Peace out.